What's up, Tube? Welcome back to Hello Guido's Chop Shop, the second best Gel Blaster channel on the tubes. And a little while ago, I did a review on the MSR bolt action, and I actually really legitimately liked the quality of the build, and I wasn't super impressed with the performance. It was a bit better after the spring was upgraded, but I wanted the bolt to be a bit sturdier, because one of the things that I did find that when you really crank on it, let me just get this in shot for you. So I can get this in shot. It's a huge thing. So if you actually crank on this, I found that this bolt was just a little bit weak, in my opinion. So I ordered the metal bolt kit, and I don't know how long ago it was that I ordered it. It seems like months, but it has finally arrived, and this is it, and I'm going to put it in. Hopefully it all fits. Let's go. I'll start with the disassembly of the MSR. Alright, so here we are. Let's tear this whole thing apart so that we can try this new bolt. Got the wrong size Allen key. I think it's a, what have I got in there? 4, so it's a 3mm that I need. By the looks of it here. Yeah, I'm going to take this top rail off. I'm going to take the entire top rail off because I think it's just going to make it easier. There we go. Let's get that rail off. Alright, now is when we need the 4mm. Up in this. Is that in shot? Yep, good. How's that for magazine in backwards style? Alright. I had someone actually commenting somewhere. I can't remember where. It might have even been on a Buy Me a Coffee, or it might have been on a just a generic YouTube comment. Someone did mention that I was doing too much GBB content and not enough, I don't know, whatever is not GBB, regular content. So here we go. This is back to your regular viewing schedule. I don't know. To me, it's all gel. It's all the same, just a different means. There's bolt action. There's AEG. There's GBB. It's all gel as far as I'm concerned. But either way, I've wanted to do this since I got my hands on the MSR. Like, since the moment I got it, I was like, yeah, this thing needs a metal bolt. Like, there's the nylon bolt was just a bit too janky. Had too much flex in it when you pulled it, so the two bolts that actually hold the whole thing together, the upper and everything together, is these two on the bottom here. So once you've removed the handguard, these two, and then that whole, basically the barrel and the bolt, all come out. And annoyingly, there's all these little screws here that hold this T-piece in, which I'll have to undo to get this T-piece off, and get the barrel off. The barrel's just got that one nut. Alright, so there's 3 screws here on the bottom of this T. 1, 2, and 3. Incidentally, don't over tighten these screws, because it can affect the alignment of your T-piece. Because this T-piece, see how it's actually 2 pieces, a left and a right piece. I don't know if that shows up on camera, but it is split down the center. And if you tighten these 2 screws too much, it splays it, and yeah, don't do that. Don't do what Donnie Don't does. All right, now the other thing, we gotta undo this barrel nut here. It does take a little C spanner. I have one here. Alright, here's my little C spanner. Yeah, I guess you could just do it with vice grips as well. Alright. Now we're down to just the action. So, I know when people replace a spring, they can sort of take a shortcut by just undoing this bolt here and sort of sliding the thing out the back and kind of holding it together and sticking it in, sort of hoping for the best. But being that we're doing the whole bolt, I'm going to have to disassemble the whole thing anyway, so onward. We can actually just remove these 2 Phillips head screws from the bottom here and remove the entire trigger group. There's actually a little, this little bar here, which actually I think even better, just if you've got a small flat blade, you can get back in here, in the back here, and just sort of lever that out. There we go. There we go. Nice. Alright, so now there's no tension on that at all, so the rest of the trigger group should just slide off. Now, the thing I found with this particular trigger group, even once you had these 2 screws undone, I found that it was really, oh, there you go, just come straight out. The first time I did it, I found that it was really well friction fit into there, so it was a little bit of work to get it to come down. Just make sure you're trying to maneuver it straight down. Don't like try to pull it down on an angle or like this, because you will flex these plastic tabs and they will break. They are nylon, but you know, still breakable. Let's have a look at this sear. Doesn't appear to be any wear too much on that sear. One of the issues with the bolt actions like this one is that the sear does tend to wear over time, and once you lose that lip, then the thing just slam fires and doesn't catch. But looks good. I put a fair bit of this. You can see this is nice and oily because I put a fair bit of lube in here last time, so no problems there. Now, the way this bolt actually exits the receiver is it actually has to come out forward. So we need to remove the handle from the back. Put this big Allen screw out the back here. Don't lose your detent. Trap for young players there, losing the detent. Okay, now the bolt handle itself should slide off the back without any issue, and then this bolt should be able to slide forward. There we go. Come out. Alright, so now we're down to just the business. So essentially what I've got here, the metal bolt should replace all of this, and grab it out of the, so it's the same length. That's a good start. And obviously this bit at the back here is where the bolt handle goes on, and that's metal, and that's good, nice and strong. There's no flex because like this, I don't know if you can, let's just do a bit of this. So when this is under pressure, you can see there's flex there because there's not a lot of material in here, and like in, you know, when you're in the game and you're pulling on that bolt handle and that, you know, it's not the strongest bit just there, and that's the thing that concerned me the most about this. I'm like, eventually someone's going to snap that off. I'm sure people already have. Yeah. So the idea of this metal bolt is to strengthen that portion, and in fact I can see just by looking inside there, this is a nice, so it looks like a nice thick piece of like machine brass here. I think it's brass. Looks like brass. I'm going to call it brass. There's an O-ring here. Yeah, I don't know why, but cool. It's probably just to give this something to seat up against and give it a nice mouthfeel. The nozzle tip is over here in a different bag. Interesting, they actually provide you spare nozzles. I know one of the things that's been a issue in the past when you have a metal bolt is that you can lose the tip of your nozzle if it's not glued on properly. And I mean, that one seems like it's glued on. But they give you a couple of spares, which is cool. It's cool. Nice to know. Just in case you lose them. A couple of spares. And then, of course, here we have the piston. And it looks like it's a nice combination of aluminium and stainless steel. And there's a spring, that's a spring retainer there. Again, I think that's, looks like stainless, and it looks like the front of this is looks like aluminium with a bit of stainless on the back, and that's where your sear's gonna catch here. So that's good that they've got that in stainless so it doesn't wear as much. Whether or not that one wears on the other side is another question that will remain yet to be seen. So I'm not going to be using the spring that's in there. I've got this VSR 10 M125 ready here, so I'm going to be whacking that one in because I think that seems like a good idea. So let's have a look if the VSR 10 spring fits on the spring guide, which it does. Look at that. It's so nice. Alright. Okay, so this cylinder head looks like it's got a nice sort of O-ring. It's got a nice O-ring here. In shot. Does that focus? Yeah, so it's got a nice O-ring here, and it seems to have like a little bit of a cushion washer there for the piston. The piston itself, I don't know if you've seen this, but it is just completely flat. Completely flat. Which is interesting. I guess you don't really need a port in the head of this piston, being that it is a bolt action, so you're probably not gonna. Also, the way the T-piece works on these things, it's got like a little detent in there to stop the gels from coming back. I just ripped the old spring out of the original bolt. Apparently my intel was bad because that spring is actually longer than the new spring that I'm going to be putting in. But this one is stiffer, so either way, this one's going to be better. But it will work, we know it'll work, and that's good to know. This spring looks like it's a little bit wonky too. Oh, that's alright, we don't need that one anymore. We'll be putting this one in. Alright, so, now, previously, when I've done these metal bolts, they've had a hole in the side of the piston, and you can like push them down and then stick a screwdriver through the hole to hold it while you put the cylinder head on. This one doesn't have that, so yeah, I'm wondering, probably just going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. Alright, I'm sure I'll get by. We might shoot the cylinder head across the room, but that's okay. Makes for good videos, interesting. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that bad boy in there, that bad boy in there, this one here, then I'm going to push it down and thread this cylinder head on. Now I'm also going to whack a heap of lube into this as well. So I'm just gonna do that off camera. I'm just gonna lube it up and push this in, and then we'll work on getting that cylinder head on without shooting it across the room. There's a nice set of little holes there to put a set of circlip pliers or something into it, so that should help, hopefully. Alright, I just had an idea. It's kind of crazy, but bear with me here. So, the back of this does, like, the back of this brass bit does actually, it's threaded onto this cylinder. So, I mean, theoretically you could unscrew that and put the cylinder head on and then put the spring in from the back, but I think that it might be Loctited or something on there, perhaps. And even if it wasn't, there is actually only one flat on the back of this. Is like a D, which is what is it? It's in order to line up with the D that's in here. That makes sense. Which is to align the bolt. Which is all great, but I don't think there's much I could purchase on this to unscrew it. I think it's Loctited anyway. So anyway, I've got an idea that might work. So my crazy idea is to actually put the cylinder in to the upper, get the bolt on, if I can do this in shot, get the get this screw in the back here. Up so it goes in the right spot. There we go. Is alright, I'll check the torque on that one later. Alright. This is so good and so bad. So I'm going to put the trigger group back in. Alright, now I'm going to get like a little piece of barrel here. I'm going to push that down. Probably going to do it against, I'll tell you what, I'll do it against the desk with a bit of wood. I'll get a bit of wood under so I don't damage my desk. I don't recommend this as the authorized way of loading this piston. Alright, here we go. Okay, now this thing is live, but I can freely screw on the cylinder head now, because the sear has actually locked back the plunger in accordance with the prophecy. Now all I have to do is tighten up that cylinder head with, I've got some, I'll use some circlip pliers. But yeah, so basically the theory that I just used was that if I have the trigger group attached, I can push back the piston until it locks into the sear, and then I'm free to put the cylinder head on any way I please. Now, just be aware, that is probably not the ideal way of doing it, but I just thought without any other little screwdriver holes or anything in there, that it seemed like a good idea at the time, although also kind of a silly one, because you could potentially shoot your piston across the room. Nobody wants that. Just don't do what Donnie does, okay? Alright, I'm going to get my circlip pliers. I'll get some cylinder oil as well and oil this thing up real nice, and we'll tighten that up. I'm just going to get a little bit of oil on that O-ring, and just going to tighten this up with the circlip pliers. Get it out of there. Beautiful. Lovely. There we go, nice and tight. As a secondary, I mean the bolt's already assembled now. Alright, let's release the tension on that bad boy. Ooh, sounds nice, doesn't it? Got a nice twang to it. Now we will reassemble this. Okay, so here's my first issue. I've gone to do just a couple of test shots, and this is not the buttery smooth action that I was hoping for. This is not what I was expecting. dealt with the M24 metal bolts in the past, and they have been buttery smooth, like so nice and smooth. And this one just not right. Like the backstroke is fine, but then the forward stroke is scuffed. I don't know, it's like sometimes it doesn't even, you can't, yeah. So that is going to require some investigation. So I've pulled it all down, I've stripped it and looked at everything, and what I've actually found is probably more my fault, I guess, for not going over it in the first place. I mean, silly me for expecting something to work out of the box when it comes to gel blasters. But basically, I guess when this was machined, when this hole in here, this slot was machined, it wasn't really deburred properly. So the edges of this are quite sharp, and the sharp edges of that are kind of grinding in to the piston here, and that I don't know if you can see, but you can see that the edges of the piston there have sort of taken on a couple of scratches from the inside of that. So that's a bit poor, bit average. So what I'm doing is I'm getting a stone or a file, and I'm just getting in there, just taking that edge off the inside there, and just making that a bit smoother. I looked into it. I could see it was also kind of rubbing on the edge of the sear a little bit there as well. So just want to smooth that off so that you don't wear out your sear too much, and so that you don't dig into your piston as well. So I mean, that's a bit crappy. I'm not super impressed with this bolt. I think that the M24 ones that I had actually had a I think they might have even had a Teflon part somewhere down here, maybe here or something, as well, so that the actual part that the sear grabs wasn't necessarily the part that was rubbing on the cylinder. From memory, that's how they did the M24 ones. But this, I guess, this whole experience has pretty much summed up my experience with the MSR, with lots of hopes and dreams, and reality is crushing. Alright, so I'm going to rub this up and see what we can get it to do. So on top of being an annoying sort of rough surface in there, I found that the slot seems to be, maybe it's a little bit wider than standard or something, but there's on the trigger group here, there is actually a little safety bar here, which its purpose is, it sticks out the top there, and its purpose is to not allow you to pull the trigger until the bolt is down. And it originally would slide into this hole here, and you can see that when the bolt is down and forward, it goes into that hole. But when you move the bolt like that, it pops it back up, and the idea is that this should slide back and forward, and this shouldn't be able to go in. But I think I was getting, yeah, see there how it's slipped in. I was getting it actually sliding into the, I don't know if you can see this. Let me see if I can get it. Okay. See that shiny silver bit inside there? That's supposed to block the safety from coming through. But what happens with this bolt, because it's not really very tight, it's a bit, you know, a bit loosey-goosey in there, and if it pops over a bit far that way, you can see the safety can actually pop into that slot, and then when you get back to here, about there, it kind of gets jammed there, which is where it's supposed to actually sit and then pop into the bolt hole there, but it doesn't seem to stay in there. So it's one of those things. I've wanted this to have a metal bolt so that I don't break the standard nylon bolt, which is a bit weak, but I feel this metal bolt is just a pile of crap. It just doesn't seem to be doing what it needs to do, not without massive amounts of modifications. I've removed the bolt safety from that. It's still got the standard finger lock safety there, but I've removed the bolt safety to see if that makes it a bit smoother. See how we go. Alright, I have tried everything I can try to get this thing to work. It is, I mean, it works. It works and it does some fairly good numbers. It was put 360 on the chrono, 360 FPS. The action is so scuffed and so gritty, and it's just shit. Look, I'm not wasting any more of my time on this. I'm just going to put the stock one back in and just be done with it. I don't care anymore. I don't have time for this crap. Don't buy it. It's a piece of junk. I'm just going to put the stock bolt back in. Thank you very much for watching. This has been probably the most frustrating video I've ever made. And it didn't even all come out in the video because a lot of it was off camera, just me swearing and throwing stuff. So that's it. I'm done. See ya.